We should just do an improv thing.
What's an improv?
No. It's like those games they play on Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Oh.
Yeah. Like, questions. Nothing but questions.
Go for it.
It's not a question, you lose.
Neither was your response, so don't.
Well, you did it first, so you lose. This is going to be the lamest video.
It probably will be the
This
lamest
is bad.
At least we're doing a video.
Yeah, this is really bad.
So I guess we're doing this video early because we're making up for tomorrow because we've got stuff to do tomorrow, so we can't do one tomorrow. So
what's happening?
Not much. What's happening with you?
Not much.
I think it'll be a terrible video.
Now that the semester's over, it's just like everything just snaps and you're all of a sudden just left like with yourself, and you realize just how void and purposeless your life is, and you're just left to just kind of like reflect on the emptiness of and the blackness and the nothingness of your existence. It's good stuff.
Never Ending Story.
I actually really like that movie.
The first one was awesome.
Yeah, the first one was great. The other one's bad. Especially the one with Jack Black.
Was he really?
Yeah, he was in Never Ending Story 3. He was the bad guy.
Oh, I didn't even watch it.
Now don't quote me on this, I think that was his acting debut. He was really young. I could be wrong, if so, then call me out, but...
Never mind. I just find it interesting that our first topic... Yeah, never mind.
My favorite part of the Never Ending Story is Falcor. It's like, I'm a luck dragon. That's good stuff. Don't worry, Atreyu. Good luck will always find you.
Made in China.
Good stuff.
Dubbing done in China. That is bad. So, what are you planning on doing for your time off?
I really, really, really want to, I want to see the new Star Trek. Really bad. I'm excited. I'm more excited about Star Trek than I am The Hobbit. I think The Hobbit looks kind of lame. I really do. I think I'm just off of Peter Jackson. I mean, I'm just completely burned out of Peter Jackson. I would kind of like to watch The Lord of the Rings again, but I just don't have a DVD player right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, why I punch him several times in the face.
There are plenty of people who think Peter Jackson's overrated. I mean, to be fair...
That may be so, however, it's the bloody Hobbit.
Yes, but, I mean, when was the last time you read The Hobbit?
Last month.
It's really not that good of a story.
See, the thing is, and just take this way. When I first read The Hobbit, I was a wee little lad.
Yeah.
So the story for me then was incredible. It was intriguing. It drew me in. That's the kind of story. And I think I'm going in to see the movie with that same attitude. Mm. And maybe it's because I'm a little kid in heart, and that's just all there is to it.
And I'm just a misanthropic old like, cantankerous.
It's this old cantankerous fart now.
Yeah. I'm really not looking for... I don't think it's... I don't know. It just doesn't look very intriguing to me.
Troglodyte.
Troglodyte. I'm not that much older than you, am I? I'm like a year at best. But no, Star Trek looks great.
Actually, I think I'm older than you.
Really? Anyway, Star Trek looks fantastic.
Star Trek does. And I guess the whole question of a lot of people were coming up is they were still trying to determine who the actual villain is. And I think it's going to be Mitchell.
I think it's Gary Mitchell.
Which
would be awesome and really epic if it's Gary Mitchell.
And solely because, and I love the guy that's playing him, Cumberbatch. He's an awesome actor. And I'm really looking, if you don't know who Cumberbatch is, if you've ever seen the BBC series Sherlock, he's Sherlock. So.
You've seen the movie poster with him, and it's like the burned Starfleet insignia, and he's wearing the long trench coat thing, and he's got like it's very Joker, Batman, Dark Knight. Yeah, but still, I mean...
Speaking of Batman, and unfortunately I'm going to say this, I actually wasn't able to go see Dark Knight Rises in the theater.
It's understandable. It's hard for me to
And I really wanted to. But anyway, it ended up coming out on the 4th, and I got my Blu-ray trilogy pack. Mm-hmm. And I ended up watching The Dark Knight Rises, and it was brilliant.
I hated the ending. I really despise it. I
actually
love the movie. I did not like the ending.
I love the ending because it's not like they said and oh wow, I shouldn't say anything just in case somebody actually hasn't seen it.
Well, come on, it's been out for a year more,
and now the Blu-rays are out and the DVDs.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you don't want a spoiler, don't be a baby.
Spoiler
Stop
alert,
the video.
Spoiler
you
alert! Go away if you've already seen it. But I thought the ending was brilliant. And I mean, what part did you not like when you found out that she was Ra's al Ghul's daughter? Or was it...
I just saw that coming. It was just so obvious to me, but also the whole thing with the nuclear explosion over the water, is he alive? Is he dead? Oh, that's not cliched at all. It would have been so much better if he had actually sacrificed himself. It would have meant something.
But see, even in the other films, there was no self-sacrifice, even though...
It was kind of.
It was kind of, but it really wasn't. But I mean... In this, I thought it was brilliant because he made everybody believe Batman was gone. Mm. He made everybody
Which never would have worked.
Which never would have worked.
Which, okay, it's a movie you suspend your... Like I said, I liked the movie.
It was brilliant because you're sitting there like crap and you're the whole time you're sitting there, Lucius Fox is like, he never got the autopilot working.
Oh my
and you
God.
find out at the end, well, he got it fixed 6 months ago.
Okay, that's the thing. That's the thing that bothers me. Can you say Deus Ex Machina? Oh, the thing that was broken, I fixed it. I mean, come on. That's just really...
The guy was brilliant.
It's
he
like,
could have fixed it anytime.
That's like you're expecting this amazing ending, and it's like a whoopee cushion. It's like, oh, it's okay. I fixed it.
Do you think that should have been one of those things that they did the credits and then had
No, I hate those anyway. I hate those anyway. I don't
it would have been like the people that left the theater during the credits would have been like, crap, Batman's dead.
No.
But the real people,
that's
the boss
cheap.
that stay behind would have been like, oh, he's still alive.
No, that's cheap.
I did like the ending though, solely, when he did the thing with Alfred where they just nodded at each other to basically say, I'm okay, move on.
That
was cool.
I just really hated the ending. I really did. I hated every single part of it.
Now, the big thing that I have is, of course, they've already announced the Justice League film is now going to be worked on.
And they said who was going to be Batman, I think, or maybe
it's going to be the Joseph Gordon.
Which will be cool.
Gordon-Levitt.
I'll go see that. I thought he was good.
He did great acting in the last movie, so it was that was awesome. And of course, you see him walk into the Batcave.
Yeah.
So
I thought that was lame too.
Well, Bruce handed it off. He gave it to somebody else, and obviously they both must use clean slate, him and Catwoman, because that was completely clear on both of them now.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I liked the movie. I just had a lot of problems with that ending. The thing that will completely salvage it, though, I was not expecting Bane to be Shakespearean in scope. He was so
a lot
awesome.
of the original comics, he was like that.
Yeah, and I realize that now.
He wasn't some brute, I mean, he's always been a brute guy, but he wasn't just all muscle, no brain, no nothing. I mean, he was a brilliant character. And he was the only character that ever came close, even in the comics, to really killing Batman.
Yeah. And I also thought it was kind of strange, this is kind of lame too, but the whole thing with the prison,
Brilliant.
Dumb.
Brilliant.
Why? Oh, I don't use the rope. All of a sudden, magically, I have more strength?
It's because, you missed the point of the whole thing. Was that you all of a sudden have that fear of death. When you have the rope, you don't fear it, and you don't put as much energy and effort into it.
I call bullcrap. I just don't believe it. I really don't.
I have this theory, is that if a person comes up to you and says, hey, let's fight, and it's just a little scrimmage, it's something, you're not putting your all into it. But if a person comes up to you and says, I'm going to kill you.
People win fights.
You would not fight to your all.
People win fights not with passion or emotion. People win fights with patience and clear-mindedness. A martial arts expert doesn't tap into the rage of his emotions. He calms himself and looks at the situation methodically. A better way to approach the prison would have been falling down, would actually have been the way out. Think about it.
What would he have fallen into?
Maybe water. Maybe some type of river or something. I don't know, but still, because it's just so cheap. It's almost like all of a sudden, wait a minute, in the Batman universe, magic exists? We can cast a spell?
There was no magic!
I cast Happy Jump! Yay! I was like, come on, no, that doesn't happen in real life. And the other thing too is, you're saying that, oh, well, when you don't have the rope and you have death hanging over you, that gives you extra strength. No, not if you're making the conscious decision to do that.
A person can push themselves to the limit when they have more fear.
But I would even argue he probably wasn't even feeling fear. He chose to put himself in that situation. It's like, I don't know. There was just some real problems with that thing.
I think it was a brilliant movie, brilliant acting, brilliant
one of Christopher Nolan's weakest.
I really disagree.
Completely inferior to Dark Knight.
Speaking of I do agree with that. I don't believe that any movie will ever beat The Dark Knight out of that series. Mm-hmm. Because The Dark Knight was just that brilliant.
I would even say Batman Begins wasn't particularly great either.
Well, not compared to the second movie.
I didn't even think it was that good a movie.
It was a good movie.
It was okay.
I think it... Alright, here's the thing. To people that have been major fans of the Batman series, to have The Dark Knight, the first Batman Begins movie, being a real movie and not some crummy...
The Tim Burton one was better.
No.
The first Tim Burton one was better.
I actually disagree. I mean, I do love the first Tim Burton film, and I still believe to this day that Jack Nicholson, by far, will always be the best Joker. Mm. But Heath Ledger's role as the Joker was great. And I still think that the Batman Begins was actually one of the better.
I don't know.
If not tying with the first.
Yeah, not a fan of Batman Begins. I thought it was lame. One thing I did like about the series in general, and you can have problems with the series but still enjoy it. I enjoy it. However, the thing that I actually really like the most about it, and I wish they played this up more, and part of the problem with this is that Heath Ledger did, pass. But the fact that the major villains had a really weird tendency to be pushed to the side. Scarecrow wasn't the real villain of Batman Begins. Joker was the real villain. But then Bane, even though I hated who the villain actually was, the fact that Bane was pushed to the wayside and was just a mouthpiece for someone else, that was kind of nifty too. Even though I hated, I'm Ra's al Ghul's daughter, shut up. I knew that from when you first stepped on the screen.
My whole face the whole time is like he gets stabbed and he's like, I just made love to you, like 2 nights ago.
Stupid. That was Christopher Nolan's M. Night Shyamalan moment. All he needed was some aliens in the friggin' corn. And it wasn't even a good twist.
Swing away.
Swing away.
Well, speaking of Christopher Nolan, since you're on that tirade about him right now, is that Man of Steel, which actually just had a full trailer release yesterday.
Oh, I need to see that, because I saw the leaked trailer that was filmed in the theater. With
the real trailer.
Oh my god, it looks great.
And Christopher Nolan is doing most of the story.
I thought he was executive producer.
He is, and the storyline is being written by the same guy that's done the Dark Knight series.
It's pretty cool. I think
it's going to have a good storyline. So I'm really looking forward to seeing it's going to be a total retelling of the story again. So this will be the third reboot, or the second full reboot, but the third beginning of the movie.
Speaking of reboots, we haven't talked about Disney's acquisition of Lucasfilm.
Do we want to?
Yes, we do.
We don't want to.
Dude, no, listen.
You're not thinking
about this. You're not thinking of the potential. You're not thinking of possibilities.
Shut up, my own ear.
No, listen, think. Think for a minute. Can you imagine, because Disney also owns Marvel, wouldn't it be amazing if you could have Iron Man, Mickey Mouse, and Sephiroth in a Kingdom Hearts? And then maybe Disney will buy Capcom and they can fight Ryu. I would die. I would buy those games twice each. Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts was good.
And then you throw Darth Vader in it too. Darth Vader versus Iron Man. Oh my gosh.
You know, the one thing that ticks me off, because they already partially leaked the possibility of what's going to happen in Episode 7. Mm. And I already hear that the main villain in Episode 7 is possibly going to be the Emperor, who apparently didn't die.
It's weird. Darth Sidious?
Darth Sidious.
It's weird.
Palpatine.
You know, it's funny though, because they have a little bit of a problem. The New Jedi Order books, yeah, they weren't really good. I mean, they were good, they were all right, but they have a little bit of a storyline problem.
I think they should kind of revert back and go to some of the characters throughout the first 2 series that actually had their own separate, like, slide-off books.
Yeah.
For instance, Bounty Hunter Wars, which dealt with Boba Fett when he actually fell into the worm, and how he got out.
The worm.
And
you mean the Sarlacc pit monster?
Sarlacc
what kind
pit
of
monster.
nerd are you?
At the moment, my brain wasn't connecting anything together.
Man.
And I'm probably going to get flamed for that. But it don't
Yeah,
matter.
you deserve to be
The
flamed
point
for
is,
that.
you've forgotten some things too, so shut up. So, but the point of that whole story was how he got out and his own story after. Because obviously you didn't see him anymore in the movies when he fell in.
After Return of the Jedi.
So,
Teddy bear picnic, Ewoks, woo! That's what we really want to see. We want teddy bears on parade. That's Return of the Jedi in a nutshell. Yeah. Wouldn't it be great if Boba Fett just started slaughtering Ewoks if he just showed up? Of course, you know, there's something that always bothered me about both Boba Fett and Jango Fett. They're supposed to be the most dangerous bounty hunters in the galaxy. And yet, when they're on screen, they have all the skill of a member of the Three Stooges. They are just really bad at everything they do. Boba Fett can't do anything. Jango Fett's greatest accomplishment on the screen was getting his head cut off. I mean, seriously, of course you could also apply the same logic to the stormtroopers. They're so stupid. I mean, it almost seems like they're inbred or something, which would make sense because they
were inbred.
As you clone over and over again, you know, and that actually would be an interesting explanation of that. As you clone, the original copy that you're cloning from does break down over time. So the clone troopers actually, you know, are effective, but then stormtroopers are like, can't hit the broadside of a bomber.
You know what my problem was with Jango Fett? Was that the whole time he's shooting at Samuel L. Jackson, the whole time he's shooting at him.
He's just standing there.
And he's just standing like, pew, pew, pew. Okay, my first 20 bullets didn't work. Let's try again. Pew, 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 pew.
This is what he was thinking. He's like, all right, first I'm going to try my blaster technique. Pew, pew. Okay, now we're going to try neck to lightsaber technique.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it could have worked.
I mean, the fight scene between Jango and Obi-Wan when they were landing on that.
That was kind of nifty.
That was actually
that was kind of good, yeah. Because since Obi-Wan's a Jedi,
I got more satisfaction out of that than Samuel L. Jackson killing him. It was like, come on, this guy could have done so much more.
I remember in Attack of the Clones when Jango Fett twirls his pistol like a bad Clint Eastwood movie. He's like, I'm a bounty hunter. Pew! I remember just sitting in the audience like, stupid! Stupid! I just wanted to throw something at the screen.
Yeah, I had the wonderful pleasure of watching all three of those.
You know,
newer ones in the theater, and the first one I could have done without entirely.
You know, you have a problem when RoboCop looks cooler doing it than you do. Of course, RoboCop looks cool doing everything.
Yes.
Aren't they rebooting that?
They already are, yeah.
Man,
it's supposed to be next year.
I like the first movie.
I think this year. I mean, of course, the end of the year is coming up. Hobbit comes out in a week, and then next year there's a crap ton of good films coming out. Have you seen the trailer for Oblivion?
No.
That one looks good. Although it's got Tom Cruise. I'm not a big Tom Cruise fan.
I mean, I have a mixed opinion. I don't care for him.
He's an okay actor. I just don't like him.
You could say that about so many celebrities, though.
But it's got Morgan Freeman in it, and I like Morgan Freeman.
I'm getting a little irritated with Morgan Freeman.
I like Morgan Freeman.
He always plays the same character.
This one,
he's always the calm, collected.
Can you imagine? Well, no. In Wanted, he was off the wall.
Oh, okay. I should see that.
In Wanted, he was totally off because his character at first starts out like that, and then he gets really cuckoo psycho toward the end of the movie, and it's just brilliantly done. So, yeah, I wouldn't say that. But
it'd be funny to see Morgan Freeman actually get cuckoo psycho crazy, like, the bananas are after me. But I do it like
the bananas are after me.
You know what always scared the crap out of me when I was young? Those bananas in pajamas. That's not right, man. There's some type of, like, kabuki going on there. That's just freaky stuff.
I almost feel like singing a song.
Don't. I have a phobia of those bananas in pajamas.
No, I was thinking of a different song. That's right, I'm not going to do it, just because it would torture so many people. Wow.
You know, one last point, and I'm going to go back to the Star Wars movies for a minute. You know what I'd love for them to do with the new Star Wars movie? Wouldn't it be great to have like a character like Kyle Katarn from the Jedi Knight series? Kyle Katarn was awesome. His story was really, really cool. They're not going to do that, though. I mean, I really enjoyed Jedi Knight as a kid. Those games were awesome. Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm trying to think of a point that I can't think of right now. My mind has become blocked by...
Oh, by the way, did
Fury.
I tell you about the article I read about the... Yeah, we talked about how the Jedi are the villains. We already done that. Never mind, sorry.
Yes, which I kind of agree with.
It's true. David's right as usual.
It's just kind of...
It's kind of like when you were like,
David's right as usual.
David's right as usual. I can't think of a time in the last 10 years that I've been wrong. I'm really glad my wife isn't here.
I was going to say, I'm sure I can ask your wife and she'll be like, David's wrong all the freaking time.
Nah, she'd support me.
My wife would be like, Jared's wrong all the time. And I'd agree with her because I usually am.
I don't know what's wrong with your chair.
It probably is because it doesn't actually lock in a position.
It sounds like a jackhammer. Oh, there it went.
Inappropriate noises for our video.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
Inappropriate. So,
I think I'm gonna go read.
I think you need to go read.
I'm reading I think it's Dark Lord, Star Wars, the between Revenge of the Sith and New Hope, The Rise of Darth Vader. It's actually pretty good. I'm enjoying it.
I'm reading a graphic novel. I don't know if that actually counts as reading.
Yeah, what graphic novel?
Year One, Batman.
No, that counts. I'm off superheroes though. I'm addicted to high school drama graphic novels.
He is.
It's really interesting stuff. I'm sorry. I don't know why, but
oh, it's okay. Otto.
I think it's because high school is such an interesting place to look at like psychoanalysis and like philosophy.
It depends on. I mean, if you're reading the Japanese style, then it's just like really creepy almost.
Okay, don't stereotype.
I said if you are reading the Japanese style version, then it gets a little creepy. If you're reading the Americanized pop culture versions, which are a little more...
You're still stereotyping. You're still basically saying the Japanese are weird.
I didn't say they are weird. I said they tend to write weird things down on paper.
So, let me lock you down. So what do you mean by weird? I think you should define that.
I think I'm not going to define that on this video.
I mean, if you can define weird as saying their culture is really different from ours, they have different values, and for someone who
that
is
in no way what I am bringing up at all.
Really?
I'm not bringing up that at all.
Well, when someone is enmeshed in American culture, anything that comes from another culture that's wildly differentiated is going to look quote-unquote weird.
In general, I absolutely love the Japanese culture. In fact, if it were truly up to me, I would have been born in Japan.
Yeah.
And I would have said, just go away from U.S., go away.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've always loved and wished I could have been a part of the Japanese culture. Mm-hmm. So in no way am I ever going to sit there and be like, Japanese are just weird. It's the writing they do in a large portion of graphic novels and anime, where they tend to draw women a lot differently, as well as school scenarios where they all are really scantily clad girls in a comic book.
To be fair, that's not a Japanese construct. They took that from American cartoonists. A lot of their designs for females is really based on Betty Boop, the large eyes and the sexualization of the characters. It's very Betty Boop-esque. So it's fine. A lot of the things that people look at, and define as Japanese, actually are just kind of borrowed from Western constructs. Because Betty Boop was very influential for their character designs, like really influential. So, yeah.
I stand corrected.
Yeah, it's Americans you think are strange.
No, I don't think Americans.
Yeah, Americans are actually pretty weird.
I saw the preview for that new Quentin Tarantino film, Django Unchained.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird that Leonardo DiCaprio was in it.
I was like sitting there like, what the heck?
Yeah, I just didn't. It's like Leonardo DiCaprio has been doing just such like high level, like really deep stuff, and
you know how I got into that solely because we were talking about Americans being weird. And I was like bringing up a Quentin Tarantino film.
I like Leonardo DiCaprio as an actor. I used to not, but after I think it was Gangs of New York.
Gangs of New York was definitely the turning point.
That's a good movie.
Because, I mean, you think back to some of the earlier films he did. What's Eating Gilbert Grape was a fantastic film.
Yeah, that was a really
But then you got into like Titanic, which was a good film.
It wasn't really his fault. That was James Cameron.
His fault. And then Man in the Iron Mask was just terrible.
I never saw it. Did you know James Cameron and most of the people who worked on Titanic assumed that it was going to be a box office disaster? They thought that they had created a giant pile of flaming poo-poo.
That ended up being one of the best flaming piles of poo-poo.
Yeah, I mean, it was just absolute, gargantuan beast. But it's kind of funny because, like, I don't know why they thought it was so bad. Probably because it was just so melodramatic, and the ending, just like a lot of endings, really. I have a hard time accepting good endings. The only endings I really like are the ones that are inconclusive.
You know what I like, and I wrote about it once on on my blog posts about it. To me, like the best kind of superhero or even a general good guy bad guy film. To me, the best ending is where that person does make that ultimate sacrifice.
Mm. I kind of like it when the bad guy wins.
Because
that's more realistic. It's
like,
more typically.
The bad guy may not kill everybody like he was planning, but if he gets the good guy, he won.
Mm.
And that, I kind of like that.
It's like a 5-year-old's rendition of morality. Like, if the bad guy gets the good guy, then he won. It's like, yeah.
It's kind of true.
I guess. I mean,
because all he can do now is he can turn around and do the bad thing again, and nobody will stop him.
I also have a lot of objections to the idea of evil is just evil. Like the idea of pure evil. I find that very hackneyed. There's only very few instances where that can kind of work. Like, take, for instance, to go back to Nolan, the Joker. Part of the problem with the Joker is that, is he evil? He's like,
I didn't think he was.
He's psychotic, but the frightening thing is a lot of the stuff he says is true.
That's why I never thought he was, because like the whole scene he did with Harvey Dent when they were in the hospital and he's discussing,
that killer scene.
Introduce a little
chaos. Yeah.
And it was the funny thing is the one true statement that came out of that whole thing was he goes, you know what's fair?
Yeah,
chaos.
Chance is fair. Yeah, and same thing with Bane. There's something that is with Bane is populist. That there's a little piece of you that's like, yeah. Let's tear it all down. Hopefully it's a small part of you, but it's there.
There are parts of that movie where you're sitting there and you're actually rooting for the bad guy. Because you actually are listening to them and their ideals are almost...
And that's the problem, too.
They're realistic.
Batman is jaded as well, or shaded, because the whole thing with the Dent Act, they make a really, really good point. What they did with the Dent Act and lying about, that's wrong. That was really, really wrong. And when Bane actually reveals that, that's a tough moment. Like, because you think about things in terms of absolutes, but one thing that Nolan did do, which I appreciated, was there's not just, oh, I'm bad because I'm bad. Look at me twirl my big long black mustache. I don't know. I don't like stuff like that.
I don't blame you. But I just thought, the whole thing he did with all the villains in the two movies, the last two movies. Really well done. Even Ra's al Ghul's character in the first one was brilliant.
You know what the Joker's cameo was supposed to have been in Dark Knight, right?
What was that?
He was supposed to be the judge at the court, where Crane was. That was supposed to be the Joker.
Actually, I'm kind of happy they made sure it was Crane. Because his character made way more sense for that part.
He kind of did, because Crane was completely out of his mind.
Yeah. So that made more sense. But, David... Either way you look at it, we've got movies coming up that look good.
And I'm still right.
And apparently David is...
My record is still maintained.
Right. Whitney, can you come tell him otherwise, please?
She'd side with me. She loves me.
As I've heard so many times before, love has got nothing to do with it. The Tina Turner song. What's love got to do with
that? I bid you adieu, fair sir.
What's love?
You enjoy the rest of your day.
Take it easy. Thank you for tuning in. Have a good day.